Hi, my name's Joanna. I'm a Senior Research Fellow at CRADLE, the Centre for Research and Assessment and Digital Learning at Deakin University.
Hello, I'm Mary Dracup. I was the Inclusive Education Project Lead at Deakin University for several years until I retired in 2021.
What are the potential benefits for educators in using a UDL approach in assessments?
So when thinking about potential benefits for educators, I think a lot of them are really quite practical. Usually when we're thinking about students with different needs, we think about adjustments and making specific accommodations for specific students. When we think about universal design and taking an inclusive approach to assessment, what happens then is that we're being proactive about what we're doing. And this hopefully, and we have seen it in practice, what happens is that the usual back and forth between students and educators is actually reduced. There's perhaps less questions and queries about what exactly students are meant to be doing in the assessment task if the instructions are a lot clearer and communicated in multiple ways. And if there are multiple different options which are clearly stated for the assessment task, where everything is outlined in a way that students can understand it, that means that students are also less concerned about what it is they might be doing in any particular type of assessment task, and they are able to go ahead and approach that task with more confidence. And so what this means for educators is that there's fewer questions from students, there's potentially less time taken up with trying to negotiate specific adjustments for students if they can see that their needs have already been met through the inclusive assessment options provided. And really that little bit of work at the start to think about the assessment design results in a much smoother process for educators, and I think a lot of satisfaction as well when you can see that students actually can successfully complete the task and demonstrate their capabilities. It's always nice to mark good assessments and not terrible ones.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say really. I mean, I think that all the teachers that I've worked with over time really do care about outcomes for their students. They want their assessments to be fair and valid and interesting and not bore the students to death or scare them to death. So yeah, the benefits are time, cost, and also just a sense of satisfaction that you're doing a good job.
What are the potential benefits for learners in using a UDL approach in assessments?
Students can benefit so much from UDL informed assessments, I feel. I mean, they can do without the need for those adjustments that set them aside, set them apart as being different from their peers. They can do without the hassle of having to apply for access plans or do without access plans and hope for the best. It can also give them opportunity to excel in a way that they might not have if they're only assessed in ways that don't play to their strengths. So yeah, what more can I say? It's a really student-centred approach, universal design for learning, and so obviously the benefits to students are immense, and I can't really see any disadvantages as long as the design is strong and that students are clear what their choices are. There's not too much confusion. Because that can be a difficulty if there's too much choice provided. There needs to be clarity about what is really required and what students can, in what ways students can demonstrate their ability.
I agree with you, Mary, and I think a common thing amongst all students is stress and anger and frustration with assessments that just aren't clear, that weren't communicated clearly, that you get very little feedback on, and that makes you do something that you weren't really interested in doing in the first place. So I think a lot of what happens in universal design reduces all of these issues, and therefore students come out being more confident about what they're doing. Hopefully it reflects in their grades and their success in the course. And happy students, satisfied students are just wonderful to work with, and hopefully motivates them to keep on going in the future.
This video was produced for the Universal Design for Learning in Tertiary Education e-learning resource. For more information, visit www.disabilityawareness.com.au.